Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. Sit with us. Come on down.
Come, gather round the fire.
This is the Human Element TV. I'm Dominic DeFalco, as usual.
I'm Evan Criscolo.
Here with Evan. Evan, what do we got going on today?
Today we're going to do some photography with our phones.
A little photog.
Right. So, as you guys may know, and Dominic also may know, I do photography. Now, do it professionally. I have a lot of very expensive equipment, but I want you guys to know that you don't necessarily need all that to get good photos. It's really about the light. So that's what we're going to concentrate on today, is getting some good photos with the phone. And I have three things I want to photograph. The first thing is we're going to do some baked goods, because this is Mr. DeFalco's specialty, is baked goods. He is an artist of the culinary variety. And then for our buddy Adam Teitelbaum, we're going to do some tattoo photography. Fortunately, I don't have anything really pretty to photograph. Dom's got some. We're going to do some photography on the tattoos, also with the cell phone, to show how to use light to get the good photograph, even if you don't have a $2,000 camera. It's okay, you don't need it. And then lastly, we're going to talk about how to take a proper selfie, because I'm fucking fabulous. Here we are. So I wanted to start with a simple setup so that we didn't have to do anything too complicated and get carried away and lose some of the more simple people that might be interested in learning how to do this.
I never get carried away, so.
Because you weigh too much.
Oh, you're right.
So what we have to start with is just a piece of white cardboard. Just a piece of, it could be anything, could be a piece of white paper. I just chose the white because I think the white looks clean, so I'm happy about having it on white. So that's, and I just have it on this little tabletop surface here that we made. Anything will do, really. And what we're going to use for light is very simple. We are going to use the window. All right, I have it open right now. Depending on how I feel about it, I may close the blinds. If you have an option for some thin white blinds that the light will shine through, that's good, because you may not want direct sunlight on your baked goods or whatever you're photographing. This applies to all manner of objects that you might have to do things with. Questions?
I don't think so.
No, you can't ask questions. You're a camera. It's a metaphor for the audience.
Do you want to anthropomorphize this camera?
Stan the camera. Stanra.
So what we have here are some white chip macadamia nut cupcakes with a bacon maple glaze.
They do look delicious.
They smell delicious.
I'm not going to eat them.
They feel great between your fingers.
I'm going to assume that was real bacon that you made this with.
Real bacon grease.
Nice. Well, all right then. So, there's a couple things you want to remember when taking photographs, especially of food, but of objects in general. It's all about the direction of the light, right? I like some nice light coming in from the side. It's all coming in from the window, so the light's all coming in this direction, right? That's what's happening here. We're going to do two things. We're going to take what's called a backlit photo, and then we're going to take a top-down photo, right?
Top-down? Woo!
It sounds like a sexy Miami summer thing. Maybe.
Don't do that. We're taking our tops off, apparently? Is that...
We're gonna do some back. Don't do that. At all.
Ever.
Not when I'm around. So there's two kinds of light that we're gonna deal with today. There's of course, you're fine. There's of course many kinds of light in general that we can photograph with, but today we're gonna worry about side light when we're coming from the top, and we're gonna worry about backlight when we're shooting towards the light. Now, we're going to start with the backlight scenario, but since we're doing baked goods, I feel like you should have your chef's jacket.
We're going to do this. We're going to do this again.
So we're ready for our cell phone photography of the baked goods.
Backlight.
We're going to start with the backlight. You know what? You wore the jacket when it was you teaching me how to bake, but since I'm doing the photography and I'm showing you, I feel like I should have some kind of a thing.
You just told me to put the jacket. You want me to take the jacket?
I feel like I don't want it to be all about you. So we're here to do some cell phone photography of Dom's baked goods. This guy, it's always something with this guy. So, we're going to start with backlit.
Where's your hat?
It's fucking stupid. I don't need a hat. Let's not be ridiculous. Focus here, okay? We're going to start with backlit photography. Right now, what backlit means is that the light is coming from behind the subject relative to the camera, right? So, let's take out our phone.
I heard this called doggy style lighting.
It's never been called that by anyone.
Am I?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna talk you through it. Let's do it like that, unless you want me to hold it. So, we're gonna. You ready? I don't want to hold it.
You wanna?
No, that's gross. Gross. Okay, it's fine. Give me that. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this. Can't really see the camera because it's fine. We're gonna get a low angle, tight crop, right? That's the whole thing. Is you want to stay whatever you're photographing, you want to stay tight. You want to use as much of the resolution of the image sensor as possible. Very tight. See, because we don't want to have to cut out unnecessary background elements later. What we want to do is we want to focus on the food. We're photographing the food, so let's take pictures of the food, right? So that's there. Boom. So backlight action. We'll like a little bit out here. That's good. Now,
Why this angle?
I chose this angle because I want to see the texture of the top of the food and show what's going on with it. So this applies to really whatever we're going to photograph. Let's go like that. So as the light is coming from the there you go. So as the light is coming from the back, it's casting shadows by whatever it comes across on the top, right? And it makes a little bit of a texture. So, or it shows the texture. It doesn't make the texture. It shows it. So what we're going to do is we're going to play with the focal point. And most cell phone cameras have an option for you to choose what you want to focus on. So what I like to do is I like to get a nice tight shot, like as close as I can. Like in this formation, we have a couple of them, right? And then I will focus on the closest one, take a photo, and what I'll do is I'll play around with it a little bit, and I'll move it to the back now, and I'll go to the back. So I just want to give myself options, right? So later when it comes time to choose which photo I'm going to use and what I'm going to work with, I have a variety to select from. Right, it doesn't do us any good when we have everything all set up and ready to go that I only do a handful of photos. Dom, you wanna give one a try? Maybe try it out, a little bit of backlight. It's pretty good. All right, okay. Wow, good job, bud. So that's pretty impressive. Now, the difference between backlight and side light is very simple, right? Backlight is with the light coming across the subject towards the camera. Side light would be just 90 degrees to the side. So if Dom does exactly what we just did, give me this here, from that position, take that from me. I don't know why I did it. It's fine. If Dom photographs it from that, now we're going to have side lighting. This is going to create depth. This is going to create texture. And again, the difference between backlighting or side lighting in this particular scenario is going to be an aesthetic preference, right? There's no right or wrong way to do it.
They used to call me sideline.
Like back in college?
Yeah, because I never made it on the field.
Community college.
Intramurals, though.
Nice.
I didn't play much.
Now, you may not know this about me, but I got an A+ every semester of gym all through high school.
You don't get to bring a doctor's note and count it as an A.
Why not?
Your scoliosis was...
I have very bad scoliosis. You can tell by the way that my spine moves. Okay?
Weak wrists.
Then they're bad.
You weak-wristed man. So, side light, backlight.
So we did 2. I said it was going to be 2, but we're actually going to do the third one. The third one is going to be top down. You've probably seen this all over the Instagram, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to take a picture from the top down.
How close?
As close as you can possibly get it. The goal here is to fill the frame. That's the expression. Fill the frame with whatever you're photographing. We have the white around it to create a nice border, but we don't want to show the floor, our feet, all that stuff is unnecessary. So we get as close as we possibly can, and we want to focus on keeping the camera at the same level as the tabletop. So if we don't want to just hold it like this.
And if you're into feet, that's fine.
No, that's fine.
Totally
There's websites for that.
be into feet.
You can email Dom about it. So what your tendency might be to do is to just hold it just sort of looking at it, right, like this. Now, this is just going to look somewhat amateur. This is not going to have a nice clean look to it. This is just going to look like you basically picked up your phone. What we want to do is have a little bit of intention. So instead of having this angle, we want to go for the overhead. And we bring it in, right there like that. We want to keep it as level as possible. Do the thing. And, oh my God, there it is. Take that from me. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Now you can do that You can do that with baked goods. You can do that with any object small enough to get on a tabletop. The same principles apply here. The same principles apply here. You can do whatever you're going to be fine. The same principles apply. You can do it with whatever you have to photograph. You sell maybe herbs or incense, cell phone cases, whatever, what have you. Next, we're going to do tattoos. We're back for the second type of cell phone photography that we're going to be doing today. Dom, you want to tell them why we're doing what we're doing?
We're going to be taking a photograph of my tattoo done by Adam Teitelbaum over at Modern Times Tattoo in Spotswood. You can follow him on Instagram at RCNJ Tattoos. He was inquiring about how to take better photos of his after tattoo work for his Instagram social media. So if you're an artist or have any sort of business in which you create things and want to take better photos of the things that you draw, paint, or tattoo on someone's body, this is what we're doing it for.
Yeah, a little demonstration, and you may remember that Adam was on one of our earlier episodes. I don't remember off the top of my head which one, but he came on. Him and his wife were on a few times, and we talked a little bit about veganism and things of that nature, right? So let's get to business. So once again, you'll find that we are standing in front of the window. I have opened the window to let in more light, right? And what we're going to do here, thank you. What we're going to do here this time is something called front light, and it's very simple, right? Much like backlight was shooting towards the light, now front light is shooting with the light behind you, right? Moving towards our subject, which in this case is going to be Dom's arm. Now, the one thing that we're going to want to consider here that everyone should be thinking about is the temperature of the light, or really with that's just means the color of the light, right? Now, every light has a different color, it has different temperatures, and we don't have to get into the whole science of it or all the technical stuff.
I am a stubborn.
Stubborn? Stubborn, huh? That's not a word. One of the important things that you're going to want to consider is what we call the temperature of the light, right? And that's just a technical term, and it really just means the color of the light, right? Every light has a different temperature. Some light is warmer, some light is colder, and warmer light just is more orange, and cooler light is more blue, right? Now, the reason that we want to pay attention to this is because our phones, will be making decisions on how to balance out that color. So what we want to do, if at all possible, is to have just a single light source or a single temperature light. So if we're going to use a lamp, we should only use the lamp. So if we're going to use the window, we should only use the window. So what we're doing here today is I've got the window open. We're going to be using the sun coming in from the window, and I have turned off all the other lights in the room. So I don't have different colors and different temperatures of light, which will give us an uneven coloration on the photograph, and we don't want that. It's not desirable.
Not one bit.
Not a bit. So this is pretty simple. So I'm going to back up here into the sill. We're going to just get a little rotation, right? Now we looked out here. This is not a large tattoo, so we're going to get right on top of it. Again, we are tight on the frame. Right, it's not moving. Up. And there she is. It's pretty simple, right? It's a little bit more difficult with a larger tattoo. What I would do in that instance is I would keep the camera in the same position, and I would take multiple photographs as he rotated his arm or whatever part of his body had the large tattoo in order to wrap around so that we could really see the whole thing. Questions? Stanra? And we're back for the final, which is going to be selfies. Dom has gone somewhere to do something. I don't know what. I am afraid, however. What we're going to do is selfies, right? Now, there's just a couple things we want to remember here. Same thing applies as I said before about the temperature of the light. We're going to use the window. And what we want to do, typically, is get as close to the light as we can. So the camera is going to make some decisions for us that normally I would make with the camera if I was taking the photograph, but the camera is going to do an okay enough job for most of us, right? Not going to be good for a professional application, but for Instagram, it works. So what we're going to want to do is have a dark room, again, and we're going to go stand close to the bright window, right? We want the dark room because that's going to give us a little separation, and it's going to have a dark background, and the window is going to shine a bright light onto my face. So what I'll do is pretty simple. I'm going to turn here. I'm gonna face like this, and I'll show you guys what it looks like a little bit. I'm gonna get a little closer. I'm gonna get into the light right there and bring it right there. I did it nice and tight. So what we want to do is we want to keep it tight. You guys. Oh. Okay. All right. So, guys, that's basically how we're going to do some simple cell phone photography using just a window as our light source. And that's it. These are some simple tips and tricks that anybody can use for any types of photographs that they might want to do. Hey there.
I'm ready to take that selfie.
Guys, check us out on www.the-humanoelement.com. Check out our podcast.
You already did it?
I'm in the middle of something right now. Check out our podcast. We update episodes every week. Usually have them out on Mondays. And if you guys have any questions about tattoos or, selfies, photographs, food photographs, tattoo photographs, or foot photographs, you can feel free to contact us. Email us over on the website. Check us out on Instagram at The Human Element, or we're also on a Facebook group, being fancy as hell.